Hello dear students. So in today's session we are going to study the lecture number 2 of chapter number 3, that is elements, compounds and mixtures for class 8 chemistry. So till now we have studied about elements, compounds and something about mixtures as well. That what is an element, what is a compound, what are the molecules of elements, what are the molecule of compounds and the basic differences between elements and compounds. And we have also studied about mixtures in our previous lecture, that what is a mixture, what are the type of mixtures. So today we are going to learn more about mixtures. So we have studied that a mixture consists of molecules of two or more substances. So this is the definition for the mixture, that mixture is a substance or mixture is a compound, or we can say that is a substance, that is a matter which contains two or more or one or more type of substances. Okay, and there are two types of mixtures. That is, first one is homogeneous mixtures. So in homogeneous mixtures we have studied that a homogeneous mixture has uniform constituents and properties throughout the mixture. For example, sugar in water, salt in water, air, tap water, sea water and blood are homogeneous mixture. Now we are going to study the next type of mixture, that is heterogeneous mixture. So heterogeneous mixture does not have uniform constituents and properties throughout the mixture. So it does not contain the uniform constituency, or we can say uniform proportionality of the constituents of the mixture in the solution. So for example, mixtures of sand and common salt, iron fillings and sulfur, kerosene and water, muddy water and smoke are heterogeneous mixtures. So these all are the examples of heterogeneous mixtures. So today we are going to study some more type of mixtures, that is suspension and emulsion, that comes under the type of heterogeneous mixture. So these are the mixtures that comes under the type of heterogeneous mixture. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which small solid particles are suspended in a liquid. For example, chalk powder in water, some medicines and syrups are suspensions. So the suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which the small solid particles are suspended down into the mixture. So some examples for that is chalk powder in water, some medicines as well as some syrups are suspensions. Now the second one is emulsion, that comes under the type of heterogeneous mixture. So what is an emulsion? An emulsion is a heterogeneous mixture that consists of particles of one liquid dispersed. What is the meaning of dispersed? Not dissolved in another liquid. So there are some particles of one liquid that is not completely dissolved in another liquid, and that mixture is known as emulsion. For example, milk is an emulsion. So milk is an example of a emulsion. So this is what we have learned about suspension and emulsion. Now we are going to study about the characteristics of mixture. So what are the properties, or we can say that what are the characteristics of mixtures. So the first property or the first characteristic of mixture is the constituents in a mixture may be present in any ratio or proportion. So the constituents that are present in a mixture can be seen in any proportion or any ratio. For example, in a mixture of salt and water, the amount of salt in water is not fixed. So we can say that if I have a beaker and I have water in it, so if I want to make a solution or a mixture of salt water, so I have to add some salt in it. So if I say that the quantity of salt is 1 tablespoon, so this will also called salt water or salt solution. But if I add 5 tablespoons of salt in the water, then it will also called salt water or salt solution. So we can say that the proportionality or the ratio of salt is changed, but the mixture is same, that is salt solution. So that is why the constituents in a mixture may be present in any ratio or proportion. The second characteristics of mixture is a mixture does not have any specific property of its own. So mixture does not have its own specific property. In a mixture, each constituent exhibits its original properties. So whenever we are making a mixture, so in that mixture, every constituent, or we can say each constituent, has its own original property and it also maintains it. For example, pure oxygen supports burning and so does the oxygen present in air. So pure oxygen, we know that pure oxygen supports burning, or we can say it helps in burning. and thus the oxygen present in air also helps in burning. So air is a mixture of oxygen and other gases, so that is why we can say that a mixture does not have any specific property of its own, and in a mixture each constituent exhibits its original property. So this is what we have learnt about the characteristics. These are two characteristics. Now we are moving on to the other characteristics of mixtures. That is the third one. A mixture does not have a fixed melting or boiling point. So a mixture does not have a fixed melting or boiling point. But why? The question arises, why does a mixture have not fixed melting or boiling point? Because there are some constituents, or we can say different substances are merged in a mixture. So we know that a mixture is a combination of two or more different substances. So that is why those substances will have their own melting and boiling point, or we can say different substances have different melting and boiling points. So that is why mixture does not have its fixed melting point or boiling point. For example, a mixture of glass of water with 1 spoonful of salt will have a different boiling point from a mixture of same amount of water with the 5 spoonfuls of salt. So this is what we have learned, that the mixture or a mixture has not its own same melting or boiling point, or we can say fixed melting or boiling point. Now we are going to study the next characteristic, that is the fourth one. The constituents of a mixture can be separated by simple physical means. So the constituent of a mixture can be separated by simple physical means. Let's just have an example. If I have a plate or a dish over here, okay, and I have some iron fillings in it, iron fillings. So if I have some iron fillings in it and I have also merged salt in it, or I can see this sand in it. So the red part shows sand or salt. So we can say that it is a mixture. What kind of mixture? Heterogeneous mixture. Okay, so it is a heterogeneous mixture of sand or iron fillings, sand and iron fillings, or salt and iron fillings. So salt can be separated from iron dust by using a magnet. So we can say that we can separate iron fillings from this mixture, this heterogeneous mixture of salt and iron fillings, by the help of magnet. So if I put a magnet over here, the iron fillings will be attracted towards magnet and sand will be left in the beaker. And sand is left in dish. So here it is written that the constituents of a mixture remain chemically separate and no new substances formed. So the mixture's constituents, that is sand, salt or iron fillings, these are the constituents of this mixture, and they are not chemically same, or we can say they are not chemically involved in this mixture. That is why they are chemically separate and no new substances formed. So this is what the fourth characteristic of the mixture. Now we are going to study the next topic, that is states of constituents of mixtures. So what are the states of constituents that are involved in any mixture? Let us have an example. The first one is sand and chalk powder. So you know that sand is a solid state and chalk powder is also a solid state. But sand and chalk powder is forming a mixture, that is heterogeneous mixture, and their states are solid and solid. That is why states of constituent of this mixture is solid, solid. So this is the example of solid, solid mixture. Now we are going to take another example, that is salt and water. So salt is solid and water is liquid. Chalk powder is solid and water is liquid. So solid, liquid is the state of constituent of these mixtures. Now we are going to take another example of oil and water. So oil is liquid and water is also liquid. Alcohol is liquid and water is also liquid. So that is why the constituents of these, basically these mixtures, or the states of constituents of this mixture is liquid, liquid. So this is what we have learned, that the constituents of a mixture can be in any of the three states. solid, liquid or gas. Following table gives examples. So we have learnt about this table. Now we are going to study some other mixtures and their states of constituents. So the first mixture over here is soda. So in soda you will find out that there is amount of liquid and there is some amount of gas as well. So that is why this is a mixture in which the states of constituent is in the form of liquid, gas. The next one is air. So air is a mixture of gas and gas only. Why? Because here is a mixture of oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen and etc. Some other types of gases as well. So that is why this is a mixture in which states of constituent is in the form of gas, gas only. The next one is a smoke. So smoke consists of soot particles. Soot particles are in the form of solid. And air is a mixture of gases. So that is why this is a mixture, or smoke is a mixture in which states of constituent are in the form of solid, gas. So this is what we have learnt about the states of constituents of mixtures till now. Now we are going to study the next topic, that is separation of mixtures. So there is a need, that is like there is a need to separate the mixtures. So what is the purpose of separating the mixtures? We have to study about that also. So there are three basic purposes for that we have to separate the mixture. So the first purpose on your screen is that we have to remove a harmful or undesirable component from the mixture. That is why we separate the mixtures. For example, undesirable substances such as oils, sand, clay, salts and microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi and algae are often present in water. So these all are some undesirable, or we can say harmful materials, harmful substances that are present in water. So we have to remove them from water. So these are removed from the water before supplying it to our home, so that there is not any kind of health issue that is generated after consuming that kind of water. So that is why the first purpose is to remove a harmful or undesirable component, is the first purpose for separation of mixtures. So the next purpose that we are going to study for the separation of mixture is to obtain a useful substance from the mixture. For example, petroleum oil is a mixture of useful substances such as petrol, diesel and kerosene. These substances are separated and used as fuels. So these all substances like petrol, diesel, kerosene are separated out from the petroleum oil, is a mixture that is from these all substances are separated out, and these all are used as fuels in our daily life. So the third purpose for the separation of mixture is to obtain the pure sample of a substance. So if we want to obtain the pure sample from a substance, we have to just separate the mixture. For example, many substances are required in their pure form for scientific research and making medicines. So many of the substances are required in their pure form for the making of medicines or the formation of medicines and for the scientific research as well. So this is what are the purposes that we have to separate the mixtures. Now we are going to study the principle of separation. So what is the principle of separation? So the first point over here elaborates that the constituents of a mixture have their own properties. So we know that the constituents of any mixture have their own original properties. That this difference in their properties form the basis of principle for separating them from each other. So this difference of their properties basically varies them from their properties, and this is the principle for separating them from each other. The next point is the choice of the method for separating the constituents of a mixture depends on the nature of the mixture and the properties of the constituents in it. So we have already studied about that if we want to separate some substance from a mixture, so that depends on its properties as well. Now we are going to study first separation of solid-solid mixtures. So if we have a mixture in the form of solid-solid state of constituent, so how we can just separate that mixture? We already know about some common methods of separation of components of solid-solid mixtures. They are hand-picking, sieving, winnowing and magnetic separation. Let us study some other methods. So we already know some methods of separating the solid-solid mixtures. The first one is hand-picking, the second one is sieving, the third one is winnowing, and the last one is magnetic separation. So we have done magnetic separation in previous slides. So let us study some other methods as well for the separation of solid-solid mixtures. The first method for solid-solid separation is sublimation. So what is sublimation? The change of a solid directly into its vapor state. We have studied in the physical and chemical changes that the change of solid directly into its vapor state without passing through the liquid state is called sublimation. So the principle involved in the sublimation process is, the sublimation process is used to separate a mixture containing a constituent that sublimes. So if I have a mixture, let's just have an example. This is a dish and I have some amount of camphor in it. So this is camphor, and I have also merged some amount of salt in it. So if I just want to separate this mixture, so how can I just separate the mixture? I will just heat this dish from the bottom. I will just give some amount of heat from the bottom of this dish, and the camphor present in it will sublime, or we can say will evaporate in the form of vapor directly from the solid to the state of vapor. And here is some collecting dish available here, so that will just gain these vapors on it, and then we will collect the vapor, and then again we will change the vapor into solid state. So this is how we can obtain camphor from the mixture of camphor and salt. So this is the process of sublimation. So now we are going to study the technique of separation. I have already told you the technique of separation, that on heating the mixture, the solid undergoes sublimation and changes into its vapor. So the solid in the previous example we have taken camphor, and after heating it changes itself into vapor phase. So the vapor is then cooled to get the solid back. The solid in the mixture that does not undergo sublimation remains behind in the evaporating dish. So in the previous example, the solid that does not evaporate was salt present in the dish. So salt remains in the dish and camphor just evaporates, or we can say just changes itself into vapor from the solid state. Example, sublimation is used in the separation of substances such as ammonium chloride, iodine, camphor, dry ice, naphthalene, anthracene and benzoic acid. So these are some other examples of the mixtures from that we obtain these kind of substances, and we have studied the example of camphor in the previous slide as well. Now we are going to study the separation of solid liquid mixtures. So till now we have studied the separation of solid mixtures, and in that we have studied the process of sublimation. So now we are going to study the separation of solid liquid mixtures as well. So in a solid liquid mixture, when the solid is insoluble in the liquid, so what does the word insoluble means? So if I have water and I have merged salt, or we can say sand in it, because salt is soluble in water, so I am merging sand in water, so this is not soluble in water. So this is what known as insolubility. So this is what known as insolubility. So that is why we can say that sand is insoluble in water. So this is what solid liquid mixture, when the solid is insoluble in liquid, the mixture can be separated by the following method. So these are three methods which are used when the solid is insoluble in the liquid, or the mixture of solid liquid in which we can see that the solid is insoluble in the liquid. So these are the three methods. The first one is sedimentation and decantation. The second one is loading. The third one is filtration. Now we are going to study the first method, that is sedimentation and decantation. So what is sedimentation and decantation? The settling down of insoluble heavy solid particles in a solid liquid mixture at the bottom of the container is called sedimentation. So I have taken the example in the previous slide that I have a beaker and there is some water, some amount of water present in it. This is water in the beaker, and if I just merge sand from here into it, so what will happen? Sand will not dissolve in water because it is insoluble in water, and it will just settle down at the bottom of the beaker. So this process is known as sedimentation. So here you can see that sand was insoluble in water, and we have studied the process of sedimentation here. The solid particles that settle down in a layer at the bottom of the container are called the sediment. So the solid particle of sand that settle down is known as sediment. the clear liquid above the sediment is called the supernatant liquid. So we have got the clear liquid, that is water over here. So this is known as the supernatant liquid. The principle of separation works here is, in a solid liquid mixture, the insoluble heavy solid particles settle down at the bottom of the container due to gravity. So due to gravity, the heavy solid particles of sand just settle down in this mixture of sand and water. Now we are going to study the technique of separation. I have already told you this technique of separation, but we will just study or explain the technique of separation. The mixture is allowed to stand undisturbed till the heavy solid particles settle down. Then the clear liquid at the top is transferred into another container without disturbing the solid sediment. The process of pouring the clear supernatant liquid without disturbing the sediment is called decantation. So when we have got the clear liquid above the sediment, so this is sediment, the solid particle that settles down is known as sediment. And if I say I have got the clear liquid above this, this is the supernatant liquid. So if I say I just want to pour out this clear water from this beaker, so the process of pouring out this clear water from the beaker or clear liquid from the beaker is known as decantation. So it is also written over here that the process of pouring the clear supernatant liquid without disturbing the sediment is called decantation. This facilitates the separation of the solid particles from the liquid. So the example for sedimentation is sand in water. I have taken this example as well. Sand forms the sediment, and muddy water. So mud forms the sediment over here. So this is what we have studied about sedimentation and decantation. Now we are going to study the other process that is involved in the solid liquid mixture, in which solid is insoluble in liquid. So the second process is loading. So what is loading? During sedimentation, the heavier coarse particles settle down quickly. So we know that during the sedimentation process, the heavier particles or heavier solid particles settles down quickly, but the finer particles settle down very slowly. But if I say that there are some fine particles of sand present in the supernatant liquid, if I say that there are some fine particles of sand that are present in the clear liquid, that is supernatant liquid. This is supernatant liquid, SL. So if there are some fine particles of sand that are present in supernatant liquid, so how they will just settle down very slowly. So how we can just make this process rapid or fast? So the finer particles are made to settle down faster by adding a certain chemical. So if we want to faster the process of sedimentation or the finer particles, or we just want to faster the settling down of the finer particles of the solid particles, so we have to add some sort of chemical in it. So this process is known as loading. If we are adding some sort of chemical into the supernatant liquid so that the finer particles will settle down faster than previously, so we can just add some sort of chemical in it, and this process is known as loading. So till now we have studied about solid mixtures and solid liquid mixtures, and the separation and the ways of separation of solid mixtures and solid liquid mixtures. We have only studied the two methods in solid liquid mixture. We are going to study the next method in the next session. Till then, revise all the topics that I have just explained you in this session, and take care. Thank you. Bye bye.